What's up, guys? I wanted to shoot a video while I'm on the drive here. I do that sometimes, time to time. Yeah, we just had the day change. Weather's been real weird, and it's getting dark at like 4:45. I talked about a little bit about this in my last video about the season and this darkness. Probably want to take vitamin D to help with some of this stuff. But yeah, it's been real tired. Drained again. Drained mood. I hate this weather. I already, feel bad enough during the summertime. But yeah, I want to talk a little bit about, physiology of the brain and see, okay, there's two different paradigms, right? And it's important for anybody dealing with these disorders to understand is that you can have people, first of all, one person dealing with the same stressor, like going to college or going away from home or moving, or losing a loved one, and that person bounces back very quickly. And then you can have one person where it absolutely can cause them to go the other way, like completely destroyed, and a lot of that has to do with the way that they were, the experiences as a child, and the coping mechanisms that they've developed, along with some a little bit of nature, mixed in. People respond differently. That's one thing. And then there's also this whole, there are people that suffer and take meds or try to take meds or don't take meds, but in the end meds for whatever reason don't work for them. And from debilitating, from schizophrenia, from agoraphobia, from complete burnouts that absolutely make full recoveries without medical intervention. A lot of those people I've talked to did try medications, but just did not didn't do well with them, didn't like the side effects. So it's an individual journey, it's an individual story. It's not for anyone to comment about or chime in about as far as something that you want to extrapolate or to someone else's life, because you have no idea what that person's been through, whether it be chronic pain, child abuse, rape, a whole array of a multitude of possibilities that they could have encountered. And you have a different background, and you also have a different genome. You could have different diagnoses. So for one person to try to leave comments on YouTube or make these general posts, or honestly even go online to ask for information, I understand, because I do the same thing, but I do things that are similar, but it can be a very slippery slope. So everybody is individual. Everyone is individualized. So you can't take what I say and apply it directly to your life in some cases. But there are some universal truths as well. And in my mind and my belief and my knowledge, that to be the spiritual health of an individual is very important to the recovery, and also some things across the board, like meditation, proper diet, exercise, sunlight, vitamin D. These are all things that are proven scientifically. It's just common sense that we need those. So some of those things that I talk about or preach about absolutely have value. But when it comes to an herb or a medication or amino acid or a certain type of therapy, that's very individualized, and that's going to take individual research, individual, looking for local resources, therapists, psychiatrists, that can help determine the root causes of your life story. But I did want to I wanted to mention that, it is possible to make full recoveries from even the worst of psychiatric illness without medication for some people, and some people not. Some people really do need that intervention, that medication. So, that was one thing I wanted to talk about. It was a very important topic. Now let's talk a little bit about some things that I'm learning. And there are some other sort of universal. I just left to go out to the store, and oh my gosh, it's really bad. It's raining, and this Mack truck has almost hit this car. Okay, but yeah, there's this, when you're stressed, you are going to increase cortisol. Cortisol will go up. And why is cortisol going up is because you're seeing a threat. And a lot of that is conditioned. And I've realized in my situation, anything that requires change, leaving my comfort zone. And I left a city that I didn't realize, I'd been there for 5 years and I really knew it well. And when I left that city, I completely destroyed my comfort zone. I no longer had a comfort zone, which was important in my condition. And I underestimated how tragic and dramatic that was going to be. But my cortisol was so elevated, my blood and urinary cortisol samples were so high that doctors thought I had an adrenal tumor, which I don't think I do, but just to show you. And then that cortisol can cause extreme damage to the brain, and damage that can be healed, but it's hard to heal stress damage when you're continuing to do stress. And the principles that I've learned really, they go into all these facets and factors. So insomnia. I mean, if you have insomnia, and I had it for a brief period, I still have, I guess, technically insomnia, but not like I did have, where I just couldn't fall asleep and slept all night, because I started thinking, am I gonna sleep? Am I not? Am I gonna sleep? Am I not? Oh my God, I'm gonna feel terrible tomorrow. And see, once you get into that rut of thinking, then all of a sudden you become very, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's the same thing with pain. It's the same thing with anxiety and depression and all those sort of things. And I always put everything back into this little box of panic disorder that I had 10 years ago, but I don't have panic attacks. I haven't had a panic attack in many, many years. For some reason, I'm still trying to treat that, and really what I'm dealing with is chronic stress, and stress that has been conditioned from years of pain and years of fear. My brain is hypervigilant and scanning for threats all the time, and medication really helped to sequester some of the neurochemical imbalances that were causing that, which helped me to start to make a lot of gains in my ability to function in the world. Unfortunately, when the stress became too much, the medication no longer served to be prudent to me. And that's just the way that's just the way it is, you know, for me anyway, and for a lot of people. I mean, they can be doing well. I have a friend who, you know, her mother was on like a med and she was doing great her whole life, and then her son died, overdosed on medication or drugs, opiates, and she became instantly destroyed. Now you think about that, well, what if her son hadn't overdosed on medication? She would be doing fine, she'd be going to Thanksgiving. So it's all about our stress and our reaction to it, and our body naturally will react a certain way, but it takes years, decades to get to a point where you become symptomatic for a lot of people. They think, it's kind of like people who are in the music industry. All of a sudden you hear them on the radio and you think, oh, that person they're new. The person isn't new. That person has probably been making music for 20 years and they finally got on the radio. It's the same thing. Like, most people with mental health disorders and burnout suffered many years, and they just didn't have the symptoms. They were able to push through. They were able to push through with coffee or cigarettes or alcohol or self-medicating through whatever else it was, sex or, you know, pornography. It doesn't matter. Sugar, food. But eventually you get to a point where the body just gives up. Can't function like that anymore, and it's at that point where the symptoms really start to become problematic, and you want a quick fix. You want it to be over with right away. But yes, medication can help, you know, keep us functioning and keep the damage from accruing further. But we really have to do the core work, and the core work is the meditation, it's the mindfulness, it's the quietness, it's the prayer, it's all the things that really lead to the restructuring of your condition demise. And that's where I'm on now. I'm on that road. But when I have bad days, bad weeks, I immediately fall apart and I forget, and when I go back and watch my videos and realize, okay, well, you were doing really good last week, you really did this, and then you really start to see the pattern of, oh wow, so okay, I was actually doing really good. Well, what happened? What changed? Oh yeah, I started talking on my phone. I started going to meetings every day and having meeting after meeting and talk after talk. And eventually you put those patterns together and realize, for me, you know, my mind never gets a break. So I was just coming back on the cusp of this burnout, and as soon as I started to feel a little bit better, I really indulged myself with work, and that caused the degradation and the increase in my symptoms, because I still needed time. It takes time. But instead of freaking out and saying, oh, I'm going to be ruined forever, this is a setback. This is going to... in the next video, I'm going to talk a little bit about, because I'm at my destination now, but about the actual chemical studies that I'm doing in relation to dopamine increases and certain chemical and neurotransmitter increases and decreases in the brain based off of certain stimuli and stress. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Alright guys, well, I'll talk to you later. Alright, bye.